But first, there are nearly 80 million internet users across the Middle East, and that number is growing rapidly. But when it comes to browsing on the web, using English is much easier than using Arabic. And there's a group of people here in Doha who want to change that. Katie Watson went to meet them.
Cities here in this region have developed with the help of skills and expertise of many people from outside the Arab world. With so many different nationalities living here, English has become the language in which to do business and the easiest language in which to communicate. But increasingly, governments here, especially in the Gulf, have realised the importance of keeping Arabic in society and business. So, for example, road signs, they have to be in both English and Arabic. And a recent ruling here in Qatar meant that billboards and hoardings had to have Arabic as their primary language. Arabic is being seen as an increasingly important sign of identity.
One of the priorities is to tackle the lack of Arabic on the internet. Just over 1 in 3 people in this region use the web. There's been rapid growth in the past decade, more than 2,000%. But even so, Arabic material still represents little over 2% of all web content. Qatar's working hard to improve on these figures. In what looks like a regular office in downtown Doha, you'll find 70 scientists trying to come up with ways of making it easier to use Arabic on the internet. One of its projects is making search engines more efficient for Arabic speakers.
Typically, Arabic is only written in the modern standard Arabic form. And the trend right now is leaning more towards typing in what's supposed to be the spoken dialects of the countries, but they're actually writing that down. So a lot of content online at this point is written, the dialects which have been written, or what's known as Arabizi, which is Arabic language typed using Latin characters. It's a combination of Arabic and English, so Arabizi. So what we're working on is a way to convert these dialects and these written dialects and Arabizi into modern standard Arabic, which will provide for much larger hits when somebody is doing a search.
But unless there's Arabic content to search for, efforts to improve search engines will be wasted. That's where Sami and Mina come in. When everyone else has gone home for the day, they get to work on their other career, recruiting volunteers across 28 countries to help Arabize the web. Their project started amid protests last year after seeing that people were tweeting and reacting to events in English. Through a campaign called Taqrīr, which means tweet in Arabic, they helped translate Twitter. They're now being funded by Abu Dhabi government to continue their work.
People like to just use these tools and use these websites to consume content, to know more, to get new information, but not necessarily to share. The whole culture of crowdsourcing and sharing and collaboration online is it's not there yet in the Arab world. So that's something we noticed, and it was a bit of a challenge to start changing that mindset a bit for people from just reading and archiving this content to actually posting some content, doing some work, doing some research, getting people together, doing one project and having a cause at the end of that, not just wasting their time or posting social content online, but also useful content as well.
And that for companies like Yahoo, which bought Arabic search engine Maktub in 2009, is seen as a good thing because it drives more people to its pages.
The Arab Spring changed the whole concept dramatically, and the revolutions became the best promotion for being on the internet. It's a growing market and there's a lot of room for further penetration. The ad spend is limited and it's growing fast, and that makes it a very lucrative market for anyone who wants to invest now.
While investment isn't what drives Sami and Mina, their ambition to Arabize the web is unrelenting. Not satisfied with Twitter, they're now trying to boost Wikipedia's Arabic content. Just another step in ensuring the language plays a bigger role in internet lingo.
As we just heard from Katie, there big efforts are being made to boost Arabic content online, and the ultimate goal is bigger audiences. And this is great news for firms wanting to advertise across this region. And one way they can reach out to potential customers is by associating their brands with successful online material. So who's watching? That's a question I put to Abdulaziz Al-Shalan of C3 Films, a Saudi firm specializing in creating Arab content online.
Mostly our demographic is 13 years old until 35. Mostly male, of course, but we're trying to attract a female demographic to what we do.
Now, the uptake of social media is highest in Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Why?
Well, Saudi Arabia because first we have the best internet infrastructure in the region, and Egypt because they have the biggest population. In each country there's different kind of need. For example, in Saudi Arabia, most of the people are online because they want entertainment, or they want something to watch or to get the news and to get involved in that. And Egypt is different. We know what happened in the revolution. It's marketed the internet as a society, not more than as a tool.
What about restrictions, though? There have been laws that have either been proposed or come into effect in places like Saudi Arabia, like Kuwait, where they want to regulate social media. What does that mean for you?
Putting restriction, it's impossible, because we have in Twitter, like in every 2 days, 1 billion tweets. To restrict and to monitor all that kind of tweets, it's really hard for any organization or any country. And even in Saudi, it's really difficult. I don't know how they're going to do it.
But people in this region have been imprisoned or threatened with incarceration because of what they have posted on social media. Are you at all concerned? Is there any concern? Do you feel that you need to self-censor or...?
No, actually, I don't see any self-censored. What I see is self-regulated, which is I'm watching what I'm saying instead of, someone is watching me.
But it's not just about the law of the land, it's about how people perceive things. So what if somebody took offence over some comedy act that you had shown and went and complained to the police?
We will be careful not to offend anyone without any reason. We are 100% sure, especially in video, we know the law, we know what line we are crossing, and we really understand how to structure our content. We're not that stupid.
Abdulaziz Shahlan of C3 Films speaking to me earlier, and while he seems fairly confident that the material he posts on the web won't land him in trouble, the boss of a TV station in Tunisia was in court this month for something that was broadcast on his channel. And this is raising big questions over whether the freedom that the media has enjoyed since the revolution in Tunisia is now being eroded. Simon Atkinson went to the capital, Tunis, to find out more.
Last-minute rehearsals for the evening news bulletin. But instead of just reporting events, this TV station's itself been making headlines. The channel's chief executive was fined after airing a cartoon with a scene some deemed offensive to Islam. But what really shocked boss Nabil Kawe was the reaction of some Tunisians.
Today, after airing the movie, 500 persons came to burn the channel, and they tried and tried and tried again to burn the channel. They came to my house, burned my house, destroyed all my property. Now I have bodyguards every time protecting me, and it's not an easy situation.
The perpetrators were Salafis, a small group that's come to prominence after Tunisia's revolution left them freer to express their own very strict religious beliefs. And it's not the only incident they've been involved in.
This is the main theatre in Tunis, and it was on these steps in March this year that a group of actors were attacked and posters for plays pulled down. Again, the perpetrators were a group of fundamental Islamists. But though the incident was widely condemned, it's left many in Tunisia questioning whether the hard-fought freedom of expression is under threat.
As well as the TV station and theatre, this newspaper too was targeted. Its editor was attacked outside court, supposedly because it had given sympathetic coverage to the case of the Nesma TV boss. It's a paper that's flourished as a business since the revolution, with advertising revenue up, as readers revel in a freer press. But in a country that prided itself on being the most secular in the Arab world, the editor says media firms are still adapting to a new Tunisia.
In this social dynamic, not everything is allowed with regards to religion. Freedom of expression, okay, we have that, but it's evident today that criticizing religion has become harder than before.
In October last year, Tunisians elected a coalition led by the Islamist El Nahda party to write the new constitution. But this interim government insists that businesses in the culture and media sectors shouldn't feel they're being held back.
I don't think the current government has any intention of reducing civil or cultural liberties. You can call it a conservative government in the ethical or political sense of the word, but I think that the space allocated to culture within this government is safe from any political interactions.
Under the previous regime, this became Tunisia's first private theatre. And its owner says that, like under Ben Ali, its performances still don't refer directly to sensitive issues.
Officially, there's no censorship anymore. There's no committees giving us authorization. But another type of censorship has arrived. The public, who are watching what we do. So we still aren't tackling some issues head-on. We're testing what we can get away with, but really, we're still operating in the same way as before.
Back at Nesma TV, the station's boss remains upbeat.
We never had freedom of speech like this, since 50 years, to be fair. We can talk, we can criticize the government, we can film the people who aggress us, etc. We can sue them. And of course, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But Tunisia is optimistic. They need freedom. They did this revolution for the freedom of speech, for the freedom for democracy. We're going to fight.
And that's an attitude likely to keep the channel on air and on track.
Simon Atkinson reporting from Tunisia there, where we're going to take a short break now. And when we come back, escaping Euroland, we meet those fleeing financial misery at home for the Gulf.